Hello. Words you need, block 3. This block is for you if your English is good enough to understand me, but it's not quite good enough to understand films, TV series, podcasts, etc. But if you learn all the words in this block, and there are 800 of them, then you will find that you can understand podcasts, TV series, films, etc. Because these are words that we use a lot, but not everybody knows them. So, let's go. This is lesson 7. We are doing words 301 to 350. And so the first one is number 301. Это не может быть совпадением. It can't be a coincidence. Совпадение is a coincidence. Listen carefully. Coincidence. There is a w in coincidence. It's coincidence. Coincidence. Don't miss the w. Coincidence. Coincidence. Совпадение. Next. Собаки обычно очень преданы своему хозяину. Хозяин. Dogs. Голосовой ввод текста. Voice typing. Dogs are usually very loyal to their masters. Or I could say to their masters. Because in the north of England, we say masters, short, masters. In the south of England, they say, because I'm not from the south, I'm from the north, they say masters. Double sound. Masters. Masters. It's the same sound that you find in March. March, masters. March, masters. So you need to choose. Are you a northerner, masters, or a southerner, masters? Хозяин, master. But master is always a man. So you could say mistress if it's a woman. Master and mistress. 302. Also master. На изучение шахмат уходят часы, но на овладение ими годы. Chess takes hours to learn, but years to master. So, овладеть. Полностью осваивать что-то. To master something. There's a theory, I think. It takes 10,000 hours to master a skill. Fortunately, it doesn't take 10,000 hours to master English. I think you can do it faster. I think it's possible. It takes a lot of hours, but not 10,000 to master. By the way, the Russian word master sporta, for example, we don't use master in this context. We usually use the phrase professional, if they are a professional tennis player, or you can say a top. I was a top junior footballer, for example. And if we're talking about master, мастерить, then you can say a specialist, you can say an expert, but we don't usually use the phrase master in that context. So, русский мастер isn't exactly an English master. 303. Я читаю роман Джейн Остин. I am reading a novel by Jane Austen. So, роман is a novel. Next. Они отказались мне помочь. Отказаться плюс глагол is refuse. They refused to help me. They refused to do it. They refused to tell me what happened. She refused to go with me. Отказались куда-то со мной идти. Отказаться что-то делать. Refuse. Refuse. Always refuse. And the noun is refusal. Ее отказ говорить удивил меня. Her refusal to speak surprised me. Oh, without the comma, без запятая. Her refusal. When you say refuse, hold the ya a little bit. Refusal. Refused. Refusal. Refused. Next. Мы перешли по веревочному мосту. We crossed a rope bridge. But we're talking about веревка. So we need to talk about string and rope. String is maybe less than less than centimeter, 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 3. I'd say less than 2 centimeters in diameter. If it's more than 2 centimeters in diameter, then it's rope. So string, rope. String, rope. And actually there's also thread is even thinner than string. So thread is like 1 millimeter in diameter. String is 1 to 20 millimeters. And then rope is 20 millimeters plus. Канат is also rope. But канатная дорога is a cable car. A cable car. Because if it's made of metal, it's a cable. But if it's not made of metal, then it's rope. Rope. Remember there is a w in rope. 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 Okay. Next. У него грубая кожа на руках. Грубая. He has rough skin on his hands. Грубая кожа. Именно вот кожа. Именно вот на ощущение. So if we are talking about how it feels, then грубая is rough. But of course, грубый, it can also be rude if we're talking about behavior, speech, attitude. But if we're talking about a material, then it's rough, rough skin. What else can be rough? Let's have a look. Rough. Let's have a look. You can also say, I'm having a rough time. Because rough is the opposite of smooth. So if everything is smooth, gladko, then life is easy. But a rough time, всё совсем не гладко. Life is not going smoothly. The same, I've had a rough day. A difficult day. I'm feeling rough. We also use rough to talk about the water. The sea is rough today. There are lots of waves. So, I'm going through a rough patch. That means it's like the idea of a rough patch of sea. You know, you're sailing. If you enter a rough patch of sea, patch is like a small area, then the boat shakes around when you're in the rough patch. It's a difficult patch. So, rough. It can be about skin, but often it means difficult, uncomfortable, not smooth. Rough also means like грубо, в смысле, плюс-минус 10, плюс-минус 15 процентов. Там было около 100 человек. Грубо говоря, 100. Может 95, может 105, но грубо 100. There were roughly 100 people there. Roughly. More or less. Next one, 307. Люди поселились здесь 1000 лет назад. People settled here thousands of years ago. So, поселиться, to settle. But not only поселиться. Поселенцы, settlers. Первые поселенцы прибыли из Скандинавии. The first settlers came from Scandinavia. Remember, the e is really short because it is between глухой с and глухой ц. Unvoiced s and unvoiced t. Settlers. Settlers. На острове было небольшое поселение. There was a small settlement on the island. My s is very long. Settlement. Settlement. And we also use settle as a phrasal verb, settle down. Я подождал, пока класс успокоится. I waited for the class to settle down. Because if you settle, you stop moving. You're calm. We talk about snow, actually. Is the snow settling? Because in England, often it snows, but it doesn't settle. The snow hits the ground and it melts immediately. But if it's cold enough, then the snow starts to settle on the ground. And if it settles, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't disappear. It stays where it is. It settles. And you can also settle a dispute or an argument. They settled their dispute out of court. So that's about súd, court. You can settle in court after a court case. The court says you must pay this. Or you can settle the dispute out of court, where you just agree without using the judge. So, to settle. Next, 308. У малышки, у малыша, такие крошечные ножки. The baby has such tiny feet. Tiny, крошечные. What else can be tiny? Let's have a look. A tiny bit. What? Чуть-чуть, совсем чуть-чуть. A tiny bit. A tiny fraction of the total. Fraction – это маленькая доля целого. We can talk about a tiny town, a tiny room, a tiny minority, меньшинство, tiny pieces. Tiny. 308. У них будут близнецы или двойняшки. We have the same word for близнецы and двойняшки. They are having twins. But if it's близнецы, we say they are having identical twins. Because if they are identical, they look the same. Identical twins, близнецы, just twins, двойняшки. And тройняшки is they are having triplets. Next, this is also twins. Это города-побратимы. They are twin towns. Города-побратимы, twin towns. Twin towns. And 310. Какая прекрасная, красивая паутина. What a beautiful web. You might know that we often call the internet the web as well. Because, you know, www in websites, it means World Wide Web. Because it's like a pautina. There's also a word cobweb. And cobwebs are old dusty webs that you can find. Dusty pylne. So old webs in your house are called cobwebs. Cobwebs. One more web. Ducks have webbed feet. You know, these kind of... They have this thing between their fingers. And that's webbed feet. Okay, that is 10 words. So now is the time to press pause, review all the words, and if you have full access to the course, now is the time to go and do the tasks to learn these words so that you never forget them. And then come back, we'll look at the next set of 10. Number 311. На деревьях есть стрелки, помогающие вам ориентироваться в лесу. Стрелки. Arrows. There are arrows on the trees to guide you through the forest. Arrows. Arrows. The stress, ударение, is on the first syllable. Arrows. Rows. But the second syllable is long. Arrows. Arrows. So O's is unstressed but long. Arrows on the trees. Arrows. Trees. Arrows. Trees. To guide you through the forest. Arrows. Next. Общий ущерб по оценкам превышает $5 миллионов. По оценкам. Total damages are estimated to exceed $5 million. They are estimated. So what does it mean to estimate something? To estimate, it's a guess. It means I don't know for sure, but I estimate. But it's not exactly a guess, because a guess is I just choose a number, 5. But when I estimate, I give it more thought. I think about it, I analyze, and I come to an estimate. So to estimate is to guess, but to guess smartly, to guess cleverly. Общая стоимость почти вдвое превысила первоначальную смету. Смета is also an estimate. The total cost was almost double the initial estimate. Now, I hope that the contractor who gave the первоначальная смета, initial estimate, thought about it, analysed the job to give an estimate and didn't just give a guess that he plucked out of thin air. No, an estimate is оценка that you think about. But it's only an estimate. We don't know. Next. Oh, and just to be clear, I estimate that it will cost £2,000. My estimate is £2,000. So, estimate, the verb, estimate, the noun. Estimate, the verb, estimate, the noun. My estimate. Okay, next. 313. Он был осужден за убийство. Убийство, murder. He was convicted of murder. When you say murder, remember, lips forward, middle of your tongue forward, murder. Nie mor, murder. Murder. Next one. Я думаю, что она была убита. I think she was murdered. 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 The first syllable is very long. Murdered. Murdered. Убийца был казнен. The murderer was executed. The murderer was executed. And there's also an adjective. У нее был убийственный взгляд. She had a murderous look in her eye. Murderous. Next. не у многих стран есть ядерное оружие. Ядерное. Not many countries have nuclear weapons. So, nuclear. It's only NU, but it's 4 sounds. It's NU is N, Y, W, nuclear, nuclear. Nuclear weapons. Make it long. Nuclear weapons. Не просто nuclear. Nuclear. Look at my lips. Nuclear weapons. What else can be nuclear? Probably only weapons, really. Nuclear power. Атомная, обычно на русском, вроде. Nuclear war, nuclear energy, nuclear waste, lots of things. 314. Я живу рядом с атомной электростанцией. In English, that will be I live near a nuclear power station. Not nuclear. No. I live near a nuclear power station. That's better. Nuclear power. Okay, next. 315. Это краткосрочное решение. This is a short-term solution. So when we talk about something краткосрочное, short-term. And you can guess that the opposite, долгосрочное, is long-term. Next one. Сегодня не должно было быть дождя. Дождя не должно было быть. It wasn't supposed to rain today. Supposed. Firstly, pronunciation. It's pronounced post with a T at the end. Supposed to. Supposed to. Supposed to. And this is a very important phrase. Because when we talk about то, что должно было быть, но не было, this is the phrase we use. It wasn't supposed to rain. Or, I don't know. Да, я должен был вчера сходить на почту. I was supposed to go to the post office yesterday. The post office was supposed to be open yesterday. Должен был быть открытым вчера. Почему-то не было. It was supposed to be open. And я не зря почту выбрал. I chose post office because supposed, post. Supposed to go to the post office. The post office was supposed to be open. Supposed. We also use supposed to talk about rules that everybody breaks. So, вам, теоретически нельзя здесь плавать, нельзя купаться, но все это делают. And I've noticed that, at least around Petrozavodsk, everywhere that's good for swimming, there is a sign. Купание нельзя. But everybody swims anyway. You're not supposed to swim here. If it's really forbidden, then we say you're not allowed to swim here, or you're forbidden to swim here. That's настоящий запрет. You're not supposed to swim here. Это теоретический запрет, но если пойдешь купаться, ничего не будет. Все будет нормально. So, supposed to in the past, it's usually все, что должно было быть, но не было. And supposed to in the present, это правило, которое не обязательно все-таки следить, которое можно нарушать. Supposed. Next. Мой сын любит смотреть мультфильмы на своем планшете. My son loves to watch cartoons on his tablet. So, planchette is a tablet. A tablet. Next one. Золушка – моя любимая сказка. Cinderella is my favorite fairy tale. Pronunciation, tail. We have a y before a l. So we get an extra sound. Tail. Fairy tale. Skazka. Fairy tale. Tail. 319. В этом фильме слишком много насилия. Насилие. There is too much violence in that film. Too much violence. And if a person is very aggressive and they are ready to hit, to strangle, to kick, to be physically aggressive, we use the word violent. This prisoner is sometimes very violent. Now actually there's a kind of argument going on in the West about this phrase. Words are violence. And people, it's controversial. Some people believe that words are violence. And other people say, no, words can't be violence. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. That is from a person who believes that words are not violent because they can't physically hurt you. But other people say, oh yes, words can really hurt, so words are violence. What do you think? Words, are they violence or not? Of course they can be жестокие in Russian, but violent? Physically hurt somebody? I'm not sure. Violence is about physically hurting people, causing physical harm. The next one, 320, это джемпер, свитер, выполнен из шерсти. This jumper is made of wool. I wonder what we'll get more for here if we do woolen. Woolen. Is that even a word? A woolen blanket, woolen cap, woolen socks. 20, 30. And what if I do double L? Then I only get 6. That must be the British way. And what if I do woolly? Then what do I get? Not a lot. Only the woolly mammoth from Mammoth. And woolly double L. 145, but it's the woolly mammoth. So they're the animals, mostly. So, a woolen hat. US. Woolen hat, UK. There you go. But some people use woolly. Although the most common use of woolly is for the woolly mammoth. Mammoth. Woolly mammoth. All right, that's the end of a set of 10. So feel free to press pause, go away and practice these words, then come back and we'll look at 321 to 330. Next, 321. Невеста выглядела чудесно в своем белом платье. Невеста. The bride looked wonderful in her white dress. But невеста before the wedding is not the bride. She's only the bride at the wedding. Before the wedding, she's a fiancé. He will marry his fiancée next month. So, the same with жених. Жених is the groom. At the wedding, there's a bride and groom. Before the wedding, they are fiancés. After the wedding, they are newlyweds. So, bride on her wedding day, but fiancé before the wedding. Next, 322. Они не понимают всей сложности проблемы. Сложный is complicated, but there is no word complicatedness. So we use this word instead. They don't appreciate the complexity of the problem. So, сложность проблемы, the complexity of the problem. It's a complex problem. It's a complicated situation. The words complex and complicated are very close. You can use them more or less interchangeably. But I feel like if something's complex, you need education. You need a lot of knowledge to solve the problem. If it's complicated, then perhaps you can use different skills. It's not only your mind to solve it. Мне нравится решать сложные задачи. I like solving complex problems. But complicated, it would be the same, really. Complex, complicated. Very close in meaning. Next. Эти старинные часы находятся в хорошем состоянии. This old clock is in good condition. В хорошем состоянии, in good condition. Let's have a look. In star condition. What words are we going to get? Let's have a look. In critical. In critical condition. She's in critical condition. That we use in the hospital, for example. If a patient is close to death, then it's a critical condition. In good condition, in excellent condition. Nice phrase here. It's in mint condition. That means perfect condition. Mint condition is perfect condition. It's in poor condition. So we don't usually say bad condition. В плохом состоянии, we say poor condition for some reason. All right, the next one, the next sentence. Пожалуйста, ознакомьтесь с правилами и условиями. Please read the terms and conditions. So, условия is also conditions. So, conditions, it can be состояние, it can be условия. And we can also talk about weather conditions. What weather conditions are expected tomorrow? Погодные условия. 324. Я сложил одеяло и убрал их подальше. Убрал в шкаф. I folded the blankets and put them away. Remember, there is a w in folded. Folded the blankets. Folded. Not folded, but folded. Folded. I folded the blankets and put them away. To fold something. Fold it up. The opposite of to fold is to unfold. Let's see how events unfold. Как события раскроются. How events unfold. Next one. Каков ваш долгосрочный план? We've already had короткосрочный, short term, долгосрочный, long term. What is your long-term plan? Long term. The next one. Психологи изучают человеческий разум. Psychologists study the human mind. The word mind has a few meanings. I don't mind. Yeah, мне все равно. So to mind something is быть против. But we don't usually use it in positive sentences. We say, would you mind if I opened the window? Вы не против? No, I don't mind at all. Я абсолютно не против. But the mind is разум, the mind. Next one. Заводы загрязняют реки. Factories pollute the rivers. Pollute. Make sure you get to what? Mouth open. Loot. Mouth closed. Loot. Pollute the rivers. They pollute the rivers. В моем регионе слишком сильно загрязнен воздух. There's too much air pollution in my region. And I think we'll find a lot of different types of pollution if we do this search in the corpus. So there's air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, oil pollution, etc. So different types of pollution. More pollution. Because the vowel is clipped, сокращенный. Before the unvoiced глухой sh. Pollution. Next, моя жена беременна. My wife is pregnant. Here we have the pr sound. Try to get lots of air. Pregnant. Pregnant. And беременность, нормальная беременность длится 9 месяцев. A normal pregnancy lasts 9 months. Lasts 9 months. Pregnancy, again, try to do lots of aspiration. Pregnancy. Between the p and the r. Pregnancy. 329. Никто меня не подозревал. Nobody suspected me. Suspected. Hold the second s. Suspected. Suspected me. Because the second syllable is stressed. So we need a long s. Suspected. Suspected. Nobody suspected me. Он был главным подозреваемым. Here we have a noun. He was the main suspect. So this time we make the first s much longer. Suspect. Suspect. The suspect was suspected of stealing £1,000. Suspect. Suspected. And these words are also connected. Я не знаю, кто это сделал, но у меня есть некоторые подозрения. Подозрения, suspicions. I don't know who did it, but I have some suspicions. 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 Если он вел себя подозрительно, he was acting suspiciously. Suspiciously. So we can use the verb to suspect, the noun a suspect, suspicions, suspicious. And 330. Мой дом находится в долине. Долина is a valley. My house is in a valley. People have problems with this word. They sometimes say wally with a w. Don't say that. Valley, you need to smile and really bite your bottom lip. Valley. Valley. And hold it. Hold the v. Don't just say what. Valley. Hold the v. Valley. My house is in a valley. In a valley. In a valley. My house is in a valley. V. Not w. V. With a smile. Valley. That's another set of 10. So press pause, review the words, get them into your head, and then watch the next set. Let's move on 331. Мой сын любит играть с мыльными пузырями. My son loves playing with bubbles. Bubbles, not baubles. Bubbles. We do a little pause to mark the stress. With bubbles. Bubbles. But it's not a hard b. Bubbles. Playing with bubbles. There are baubles on the tree. There are bubbles in the bath. That's a good pronunciation challenge. Try to voice type baubles on the tree. Это шарики на ёлке. Baubles on the tree, but bubbles in the bath. Next, ёжик. Милое маленькое существо. A hedgehog is a cute little creature. Creature. Like we did with the p, with breathing out. Creature, the same. We blow before the r. Creature. Creature. Cute little creature. Or zvier. It can also be zvier, a creature. Существо, зверь, creature. Наш конечный пункт назначения Владивосток. Our final destination is Vladivostok. Not Vladimirstok. What? Our final destination is Vladivostok. Got it. Vladivostok. So we move the stress. We don't say Vladivostok. We say Vladivostok. Vladivostok. I don't know why. But here the word is destination. Punkt назначения. Our destination. You probably also know the word destiny. It's her destiny to become Olympic champion. She was destined for greatness. So, destiny is about судьба. She was destined for greatness. Для нее вот это было назначено заранее. Her destiny, destined for. And our destination, this train is destined for Vladivostok. Flooded Rostock? No. It's quite hard to make it right, Vladivostok. Anyway, never mind. Destined, destiny, destination. Next. Следующие президентские выборы состоятся в следующем году. Выборы. The next presidential elections will be next year. I don't know why I said elections. It's election. The next presidential election. It's one election. It's not many. So the election will be next year. Why is it called an election? Because we elect a president. Трамп был избран в 2016 году. Trump was elected in 2016. To elect a president, to elect a prime minister, to elect an MP, we use the word, he was elected MP last year. MP is Member of Parliament. Next one. В новом тренажерном зале есть замечательные удобства. I'm not sure that удобства is the best translation here, but in English the phrase is, the new gym has wonderful facilities. Obviously it's not the name gym, it's the place, the gym has wonderful facilities. What are facilities? It's the shower, it's the pool, it's the sauna, it's the changing rooms. All the things which facilitate your workout. All the things which facilitate an activity are facilities. So in a gym, that means, changing rooms, shower, pool, sauna, but not the equipment. The equipment itself is equipment. We also talk about facilities in a hotel. So the things that facilitate a pleasant stay. All the things that facilitate a pleasant stay are the facilities of the hotel. The swimming pool, the tennis court, nice restaurants, even the lifts. They're all facilities that facilitate, способствовать, a nice stay in the hotel. All right, next one, 336. В моем новом телефоне есть несколько интересных функций. Not functions. My new phone has some cool features. So, функции, features. This is a really useful new feature. Очень удобная функция. Voice typing is a great feature for learners of English. I hope that by now you are good at voice typing and you've tried it, and I hope that you've mastered it. Что вы реально освоили. I hope that you've mastered this cool feature, voice typing. It's a great way to practice speaking. It's really good. Next. В фильме участвуют два моих любимых актера. The film features two of my favourite actors. So, feature is a noun, функции, but it's also a verb. The film features these actors. Next, мы использовали стационарные камеры для наблюдения за леопардами. Наблюдение. We used fixed cameras to observe the leopards. Leopard is a leopard. But the word we want to remember is наблюдение. Наблюдать is to observe. To observe. Remember connected speech. To observe the leopards. To observe the leopards. And the noun in English is observation. So it's to observe, but observation. The stress moves. Крокодили находятся под постоянным наблюдением. The crocodiles are under constant observation. Observation. And the next one. Я полагаю, они тебя не ожидали. Полагаю. I suppose they weren't expecting you. So we've already had the phrase supposed to be supposed to, and maybe it is полагается, maybe it's the same word, I'm not sure. I feel like supposed to, the meaning has moved away, a little bit like to use and to be used to have slightly different meanings. I think this is the same idea. To suppose and to be supposed to, we have a slightly different meaning, but the verb to suppose is я думаю, я полагаю. I suppose they weren't expecting you. I suppose. The next one. Я не знаю, как она выжила. I don't know how she survived. To survive, okay, it's written S-U-R, but we don't say the R, just survive. Survive. How did she survive? And the noun, выжившие, выживших не было. There were no survivors. Survivors. here at the beginning it's UR, at the end it's OR, but it doesn't matter. We just say survivors, survivors, survivors. And the last word in this set. Погода меняется изо дня в день. The weather varies from day to day. So there's this verb to vary when there's some разнообразие, some diversity. Anything really can vary. I wonder what we get if we put in this with collocates and nouns. Let's have a look. Prices, of course, prices vary. They change. The rates at the stavki in this context, the rates vary. Estimates. Estimates vary. So one expert estimates this, that's его оценка. Another expert estimates this, другая оценка. So estimates vary between 120 million and 160 million. I don't know, estimates of the total, I don't know, zebra population. How many zebras there are in the world. We don't know exactly, but estimates vary between 120 and 160 million. Some people think 120, some 160. Estimates vary. So, vary. And from the word vary, we get the word variety. Они предлагают широкий спектр процедур. They offer a wide variety of treatments. Wide variety is a fixed expression, really. What other varieties can we find? Let's have a look. Wide variety is, of course, the top one. A great variety. A large variety. An infinite, бесконечное. Бесконечный спектр, бесконечное разнообразие. I don't know the best way to translate it, but a variety. Many different things. There's also the adjective various. Я перепробовал различные способы изучения словарного запаса. Я перепробовал различные... Whoops. Try in English. I have tried various ways of learning vocabulary. Of learning new words. Various ways. And there's also a word variable. Наша погода очень переменчива, постоянно меняется. Our weather is very variable. This is a word a bit like valley, where you need to pronounce a v with a smile at the beginning. Variable. So you need to really bite your lower lip and hold the v. Variable. Don't rush. Don't say, but variable. Hold it for a moment. Variable. It's very variable. I don't know. The weather is very variable in the valley. Very variable in the valley. Practice that with very variable in the valley. That is another set of 10 words. So press pause, take a little break, review all the words, and then we'll do the last set of 10 together. And the last set of 10 starts with number 341. Эти приспособления позволяют писцам, is that right? Пережить долгую зиму. These adaptations allow Arctic foxes to survive the long winter. Приспособления, adaptations. Of course, the verb is to adapt, and I think there's адаптироваться in Russian. But if we want a noun, it's adaptations. Next, таблица состоит из строк, rows, и столбцов, columns. A table has rows and columns. You can see at the end we've got n, but we don't pronounce the n. Columns. Columns. Not columns. Just columns. Columns. There are a few words like that with n. Hymns. That's gimli. Solemn. Серьезный такой. And columns. When n is just really. Columns. Columns. Rows, строки, columns, столбцы. We also talk about columns on the front of a building. Next. Дети были не очень увлечены уроком. Не очень увлечены. The children were not very engaged in the lesson. A good way to remember engaged, I think, is that if you call somebody and they are on another call, we say, the line is engaged. That's, with old phones when we used to use lines. We don't use lines anymore, but you get the idea. The line is engaged, so it's busy. If people are engaged, their full attention is on the thing. You can't distract them because they are engaged in the lesson. So the children were not very engaged in this case. When I create content, я стараюсь создавать вовлекающий контент. Content. I've forgotten. No. I try to produce engaging content. So I hope that my content is engaging. And here we get engage. Although the g is in the middle of the word, it's still tip of the tongue goes down. Engaging content. Andy и Кейт помолвлены и поженятся следующим летом. Andy and Kate are engaged and they will get married next summer. Помолвлены, they're engaged to be married. Just like the line is engaged, if the people are engaged, they are already committed to each other. No distractions. No, you're engaged. Они еще не объявили о своей помолвке. They haven't announced their engagement yet. Engagement. Next, 344. Поднимите руку, если вы за. Я за. I'm in favor. Raise your hand if you are in favor. Favor. Get lots of ya. Favor. You can be in favor or you can be against. 3 people voted in favor, but 6 people voted against. За. In favor. Против. Against. Мне нужно, чтобы ты оказал мне большое одолжение. I don't think that's a great translation, but anyway. And why is it the wrong way around? Why is that... Wait a minute. That's weird. Let's put that there. Let's put the Russian there. There we go. Not sure how that happened. I need you to do me a big favor. We very often ask this question. Can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor, please? I've just a little favor. When I have just a little request. Can you do me a favor? A favor. The next one is они заставили меня рассказать им все. They forced me to tell them everything. Заставили. They forced me to do it. They forced me to go with them. They forced me to tell them everything. Forced. It's an or sound, double sound. Or. Forced. Forced. They forced me to tell them everything. Он служит в вооруженных силах. He is in the armed forces. Силы, forces. In the forces. Next, компания провела внутреннее расследование. Внутреннее. The company carried out an internal investigation. Internal. Let's have a look. What other words we sometimes find after internal? What's it going to be? Internal revenue. That's налоговая in the United States, I think. Internal revenue. Internal consistency. Your argument is not internally consistent. So, if it's not internally consistent, то все не складывается на самом деле внутри себя. Есть какие-то пункты, которые противоречат друг другу. Вот это inconsistent. А internally consistent значит все складывается. Internal affairs, that's usually about a country's internal affairs. Мы не вмешиваем. We don't interfere in the internal affairs of other countries. Although, of course, many countries do interfere in the internal affairs of other countries. Internal. Next one. Пирамиды были построены рабами. The pyramids were built by slaves. Рабы, slaves, slaves. And рабство было широко распространено 500 лет назад. Slavery was widespread 500 years ago. Slavery. Lots of y in that word. Slavery. Slavery. The next one. Эту палатку действительно легко установить. Палатка is a tent. This tent is really easy to put up. Tent. Can you hear I say tent? Then a little pause and then t. Tent. Tent. Because t is unvoiced, глухой, so we get this little pause. Tent. Tent. But if the word was tend, then instead of a pause, I would have that. So, tent before unvoiced t, tend before a voiced d. Tent, tend, tent, tend. Next one, 349. Я отменил свою подписку в конце пробного периода. I cancelled my subscription at the end of the trial period. So, very often you get a trial period when you subscribe to a course, when you buy an app, something like that. You get a trial period. At work, there's also the phrase probationary period. So if you get a new job, it's usually called a probationary period. And look, пробный, probation. I think the words have the same root. But here we're talking about a trial period. What does it come from? It comes, of course, from the verb to try. You can try it during the trial period. Trial has another meaning. Судебный процесс длился больше месяца. The trial lasted more than a month. So a trial is судебный процесс. Это то, что происходит в суде. A trial. Where does that come from? Well, the suspect was tried for fraud. That means that fraud is мошенничество. So the suspect, they tried him. They investigated him. They went to the court. The prosecution accused him. The defense defended him. And then they got an answer. That's a trial because suspects are tried in court. And the last one. У него есть свой собственный маленький фургончик. Фургончик is a van. He's got his own little van. And that is another of these difficult words where we have a smiley v. Van. Hold the v. Van. His own little van. Van. And that's all. That's another 50 words. Well done. Now we're nearly halfway. If you haven't watched all the previous lessons, you can find links to them under this video in the video notes. So please have a look there. Watch the previous videos. I hope that you have already noticed that maybe it's becoming easier both to understand English, to speak if you're doing a lot of the голосовой ввод текста, voice typing. I hope that your device understands you better. And I hope that if you have English in your daily life, that you're noticing that, oh yeah, these words from the course, I keep noticing them because people use them all the time. Yeah. So I hope that's how it's working. I'd be very happy to hear from you about your experience so far, what's working for you. If you have any suggestions for how things could be better, I'm always very happy to get them too. Anyway, oh yeah, please remember to like, please remember to subscribe, that also helps. And that's all really. So soon there will be another video. We'll do words 351 to 400. But for today, that's all. Bye.